going on, everybody? Welcome to the Monday Swing for the Fences show, joined by my two boys, Hoop, DC, talking some baseball. We got 6 games today, and lock is 25 minutes earlier than usual. Usually lock 7:05 Eastern. Today, 6:40 Eastern is the first game. So, make sure you get your lineups in. FanDuel, DraftKings both have the same lock times. I always talk about it. Last time I was on the show, the first thing I do when I pull up the slate is there Coors on it. Unfortunately, not. Then I look at the over under. Well, I see a lot of 6.5s. I see 1-9, and it's a lot of low totals as it has been all year. So excited to hear who these guys like to target for bats. There's a lot of pitching we can target, even though it's not the biggest names. Anyone can throw a gem. We were talking about a little pre-show, but anyone can throw a gem right now with how the MLB is going. So excited to dive in, talk about it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe for us. We always appreciate it. DC, head over to you. Got that Rockies hat on. Like I said, I wish they were playing at home today. How's your Monday going? Any thoughts about baseball?
Things are good. Yeah, another day of baseball. Obviously, once the baseball season gets rolling, it doesn't really slow down in terms of games until the end. But we have certainly seen a slowdown in the offense. A couple early games today, more of the same. What is it? 2-0, maybe 1-0, 2-0, and 3-0 in the 2 early games. Like you said, you look at the totals for these games, and most teams are. I mean, we're seeing totals down well under 3 against true ace, like kind of like borderline all-star guys. I mean, the best pitchers going today, I think, by talent: Pablo Lopez, Bassett, Fried. Those guys are good pitchers, but these guys aren't really Cy Young type of pitchers, and we're just seeing super low totals. I mean, even for pitchers who aren't all that great. Just no scoring in baseball right now. And we're talking pre-show. It's not us complaining. Everyone's playing the same DFS slate. And if the total is gonna be low, if scoring is gonna be low, technically you would think maybe that would be a little bit of an advantage over people who expect scoring to come back up. But it just makes the games less fun. Obviously, there's other sports going on that you can watch. But as a huge fan of baseball, just in general, it's been a little frustrating start to the year. But we march on. We hope the baseballs get changed out at some point. They're talking rule changes too, which I think will be beneficial in the minor leagues. They're testing some things out. One thing that I think would really, really help is enforcing no shifting rules. So make players play their own position. 2 guys on each side of the infield. No guy camping out, in short right field to take away hits. I think you got to have 1 foot on the infield dirt when the pitch is delivered, and 2 guys on each side of the infield. That'll encourage contact. It'll increase base hits. There are things to be done to make baseball a little bit more exciting. Maybe the pitch clock. There was a viral video going around. I got a guy didn't go. I don't want to go that far, but
I quoted it. Do not do that. No. I quoted it. I said, "What in the world is going on? Do not do that." No, dude didn't even take a long time. Like that was literally the quick. Like the MLB dudes take way longer than that guy. That tilted me this morning.
I don't understand Major League Baseball's apparent obsession with trying to make the average length of game go from 3 hours and 5 minutes to 2 hours and 55 minutes. Like what is that going to do? We want scoring, we want base hits, home runs. Strikeouts are fine, but when guys hit the ball, you want good things to happen, not just automatic out fly balls to the outfield. So I'll keep my rant to 4 or 5 minutes today, and we'll get to the slate. But I had to get it off my chest.
Yeah, definitely. I can agree with you on that. I will say the shift, I'm on a little different side than you. It's not like a hard stance or that. I just think hitters, I think if you can't hit the ball the opposite way, if you're just a pull hitter, I think you got to learn to hit the ball the opposite way. As a kid, you're always taught hit it to all parts of the field. I get what you're saying, though. I mean,
I agree with that, but we just haven't seen it happen. So at some point, you got to make a rule to make the game more exciting. I think we see the NFL and to some extent the NBA change their rules frequently, right? Every offseason, the NFL does little rule changes to try to liven things up, to take anything they saw from the previous season that they thought they could improve and make the game more exciting. Go do it. So I hope baseball starts doing some of that. I don't have my hopes up super high, but maybe they will.
I thought that was the plan for next year, right? Like the shift is going to be gone.
I think so. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly.
Some teams are actually still using the shift, and some teams are preparing for next year, not really shifting. It's kind of what I've seen, but yeah, I mean, not as strong of a stance as the robots for me. Like I can't watch Angel Hernandez keep messing it up. But yeah, I mean, everyone has a different opinion. If that leads to more run, if the balls are going to stay dead, then sure, no shifts so we actually can see some runs. But I liked it when the ball was flying a couple of years ago and you could still do it. But Hoop, how's it going? What's your thoughts on any of this with baseball? Obviously, we all like to see some runs. I like when my home run Twitter notification keeps popping up constantly. And sometimes I check and I'm like, do I have my notifications on? Like I ain't seeing any home runs going on. So what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, the frustrating thing, you look at this slate tonight and there's 3 games with a 6.5 run total. And in the previous years, in order to get a 6.5 run total, you're looking at Scherzer versus Kershaw.
And it's still probably like 7.5. Like it's still not even 6.5 usually.
Yeah. Garrett Cole versus Max Scherzer. You're looking at 2 aces going head to head. And, it's going to be a 2-1 game type thing. But now it's like you got, Max Fried and Chris Bassett both pitching well this year, but a 6.5 total for those guys. Drew Rasmussen and Dalton Jeffries, 6.5 total. Like that's not right. And I'm all for it. Like if a guy's going out there pitching a gem, yeah, okay, let's have a low scoring, grinded out type game. But that's every single game right now. I want some games that are 10-9 or 12-11 or whatever it may be. It's good to have it's fun to have a good mix of games. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the shift thing, I'm kind of torn on that. Like to me, it should be more on the hitters. Like some of these left-handed guys, like Joey Gallo, and like you could literally just like chop bunt it down the third baseline and you're on first, like every single time. Like it's just shocking to me that none of these hitters have made the adjustment to make the defenses pay for it. Like swallow your pride and start taking some singles down that third baseline. They like refuse to do it. So I don't know. Like I feel like if they
especially now that nobody can hit home runs, take it for like
take it. And it's not a guarantee.
Like a offensive event, so go take that.
Yeah, it's not a guarantee that they can happen every time, but they don't even try for it. And like these are professional hitters. Like I imagine if they train to hit the ball to the opposite side of the field, they'd be able to do it. But none of these power guys do it. It just drives me nuts. But I don't know. I mean, I think the weather warming up will improve. You have to imagine like this is bad for baseball overall. Like baseball as is can tend to be a boring game. Now we all like baseball. We'll sit back, we'll watch a game, but for an average fan to tune into a game and they watch their team and every night it's 3-2 or 4-3, like it's just not exciting. Like you have to have some home runs. You got to have some balls going off the wall. You got to have some runs. But baseball is just so archaic in making any sort of changes to the game that would progress the game forward. They just refuse to do it. So we'll see. I imagine though at some point, if it's what is it, DC, the baseballs that they're using, right?
Yeah, well, that was like the biggest thing that is just not.
Yeah, so I guarantee at some point there's going to be like a switch flip, and next thing you know, these guys are just pounding them 450, over the fences. I'd imagine. Who knows though? I mean, the leadership in the MLB just seems so dumb, and they just refuse to make changes. But
the funniest part is like they like refuse to admit, even though it's like back without a shred of evidence that the baseball's changed. They refuse to like talk about it. But yeah, I imagine one day, no warning whatsoever. It happened one day, right? I think it was like last weekend, maybe on a Saturday, where run scoring was up, and we thought, oh, maybe this is the day, or at least I kind of thought that, and then it came right back down. Yeah. Part of the problem too, it's been cold across the country for all of April. That's going to change quickly. We're into May now, so we'll see some more offense, and we'll keep trying to pick some winners.
If you want to use these baseballs, do it when it's like 90 degrees and humid and pop flies are leaving the stadium. Then, bring in these baseballs, not when it's like 40, 50 degrees, wind blowing in a lot of these spots. Like the pitchers don't need any help at this point. They need 85 degree days in Wrigley Field with the wind blowing out. That's when these pitchers need the help, not right now. Yeah, so who knows? We'll see.
DC, have you seen anything about like their ratings and stuff, viewership for the MLB like this year compared to the previous years? I can only imagine it's definitely down, but I don't know the stats.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I think a lot of baseball viewership, obviously driven by fantasy and gambling now to some extent, but I still think a good portion of it is like the local markets, like the 50-plus-year-old mom and dad watching their team every night.
And those don't just go away.
My dad watches the Twins every night. And I don't know, if you're a casual fan, you're only really paying attention to your home team. you might not notice that the scoring is down league wide, right? If you're just
they would probably just think that like their team has elite pitching this year.
Man, that is crazy.
Man, no one can mess with our staff. We're shutting them all down.
The greatest staff ever, but man, our offense. We need hitters. No, this is just the whole league right now.
That is funny. I did want to touch on something Caesar said because I was on the Sweet Pod. If you haven't checked out JT's podcast, he does every week. Very good. I was on it last week, 2 weeks ago, maybe with JSU. And this question was kind of brought up and I touched on it. He said, do you think the low scoring should shift the way we were thinking about stacking? Maybe instead of stacking, we should just play the best plays. And my argument to that is just the complete opposite.
It's the opposite of that.
Because the reason, I'm always pro stacking because, obviously correlation sport. However, you can win an MLB by taking a bunch of one-offs, maybe doing a 3-3 and a bunch of one-offs. And the reason you can win is because you're banking on those home runs. Home runs is the biggest thing in MLB, obviously. Now that the home runs are down, you don't want to one-off more bats because you're banking on home runs, which is harder to hit. Whereas now RBI singles and stuff mean a lot more because runners are on base. So if you stack, you have runners on base, a single will get you a lot more points. Whereas you don't want to rely on these home runs right now because the balls are dying. So I think it's just the opposite, Caesar. That was my stance on it on the Sweet Pod. Hoop, I think you agree, DC, if you want to touch on it, but I wanted to touch on it because it is important.
Yeah.
I think go ahead, Dan.
Go ahead, DC, then we'll go Hoop.
Yeah, you make a good point. I mean, the stacking, because you got to string together some hits and walks, right? And that's like enough to maybe ship a GPP. Like you might not even need a single home run.
Exactly.
There's been days where we're like an hour into a full slate, and it's like I guess first home run wins because it's like every game is 0-0 or 1-0. I have put an emphasis myself on listen, you've got a 5-man stack. On your one-offs, I want those guys to have like real power, right? Because I think especially a lot of maybe some of the guys that are like borderline home run hitters that you would fill in, cheap guys, it's just extremely difficult if you don't have big boy power to hit one out. So like, the Aaron Judges of the world, I have kind of John Carlos, you guys know who the big Byron Buxton, those guys I think have even more beneficial or, bigger advantage over their kind of less like still power hitting types, but don't have the same type of huge raw power that some of the big boys have. So I have put a little bit of emphasis on those guys, but I do agree with you. I think stacking is the way to go right now because you're not going to get, if you're going mostly, just trying to get most upside into every position, you're not getting home runs from all your guys. It's just not going to happen. So you do need a team to get, 2 rallies in a game from your stack, and you're sitting pretty good this day and age.
Yep, same thoughts here. Hoop, I assume you have the same thoughts, but I think DC made a good point. Like when I'm looking at one-offs, the guy either has to be like 2K, 2.1K at a really bad position, or I want someone that I know can at least hit a home run in the balls in the day and age right now. So touch on that quick.
Yeah, I mean, and then with fewer runs being scored, you need all parts of that run in your lineups. I guess the best way to put it, with only a limited number of runs being scored, you not only need the run, you need the RBI, you need the guy that's getting on base, you need all parts of as many runs as possible, I guess, if that makes sense.
No, it definitely, I think people understand, but you want, because 5 runs could be the most on the slate. If you look at right now on these 6 games, the Astros have the highest team total at 4.9 I'm seeing right now. So they're saying Vegas is 5 runs is the most. 5 runs could ship a GPP today. Obviously, I don't think that's going to happen. We expect one of the 12 teams to score more than 5 runs, but you're not going to see a ton of home runs. Vegas doesn't expect 10 plus runs. So you get 6 runs, the pitcher walks a couple batters, 2 RBI singles, a couple hits string together. That could be enough to ship a GPP nowadays.
If you told me what one team was going to score 6 runs tonight, I would probably go
lock them in.
All in.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
6 runs could easily be the highest number put up today. Like wouldn't shock me one bit, which is just crazy to say.
Sad, but hey, everyone's dealing with it. We're baseball fans. There's no excuses. Everyone's dealing with the same thing. So we're going to navigate it, talk pitchers, then we're going to talk stacks as always. Then we're going to go position by position. Hit that like button, please, for us. Hit that subscribe button. I'll set a number in a little bit. We got Uncle T in chat, Steve Anthony, Just Sports, Ron Rice, Nice Kevin, Uzi, Costa. What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you hanging out with us. Justin Sports said Trout has been the best hitter in baseball so far this year with the dead balls. I mean, I think he's the best hitter in baseball, period.
That's shocking. That's shocking news.
Yeah, I think he's the best hitter in baseball, period. But yes, Trout.
No, really? That was like when we had G Rising last year, and we're all talking about like the random guys that we think are good in baseball. He's like, yeah, my favorite player is Mike Trout. Well, no shit, he's the best player in baseball, Scotty.
Hey, I bet you there's a lot of people that will argue someone else out there, whether it is Ohtani, whether it is DC. What do you think? You might think Trout too, but people are going to argue. I don't think that's a consensus right now.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, he went to like the top, like one of the best. We were picking like random dudes. Like I've been high on Zach Collins. I'm like, yeah, I like Zach Collins, and whoever else was on the show had like a random dude. Then he pops in with Mike Trout.
Because he came in hammered with his baseball glove talking about Miggy trying to hit that 500.
Oh, like gosh, man. He bet that every single day for 3 weeks. That was his bet of the day.
Yeah.
What was his bet?
G Rise when Miggy
500.
Yeah, when Miggy was going for 500 last year.
And he didn't. I think he jumped off by the time Miggy actually hit it, which is the sad part.
Did K Fallick ever get his Lonzo Ball triple double that he was betting on every day?
He was hammering that.
I don't think so. I think he might say the books. Like I don't know, but I don't think he ever cashed in on that, unfortunately. Either. Speaking of K, what do you say?
Maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe next year. Speaking of K Fallick, him, JSU, and Big T going to be on the Up to Lock show on the premium show, talking some hoops. Got 2-game playoff slate. Should be a lot of fun. That locks at 7:30 Eastern. So baseball 6:40. Get those lineups in. 7:30 NBA. Lots of action as always. So make sure you check that out. If you're not a member, RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off. Make sure to get in the Discord too. That is that is my favorite part. Very good community, very knowledgeable members talking all the sports. So RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off. We're going to talk some baseball though. We're going to dive into the slates. DC, what do you think is the best way to talk about pitching? I was going to say you can just go top to bottom. Do you want to separate it by a certain price range? What are your thoughts? What's easiest?
Man, pitching is tough on this slate. I think.
Do you want to go top to bottom? Do you want me to say 8K? The thing is, because all right, so Zach Gallen's is 7.6K. Which I was going to say 8K and above, but Zach Gallen looks to be one of the most popular pitchers on DraftKings. So I think he's an important talking point. So let's go with Zach Gallen. You talk about him and then talk about Zach Gallen and up. And then I'll come back to you if you have anyone else after who.
Yeah. So Gallen was kind of a, up and coming potential ace for the Marlins. I think he actually got traded to Arizona from the Marlins, which is interesting in and of itself because he's going back to Miami for this game. But dealt with some injuries the last couple of years, kind of slowed him down, slowed the development down. But looks to be back to it. Has pitched, 3 starts. This is making his 4th start through 66 pitches in that first start, 79 and up to 90 in that last start against the Dodgers, where he pitched really well. Like you mentioned, 7,600. Miami, not a team to fear. They are a little bit low strikeouts against right-handed bats. So I guess that's kind of the knock on Gallen here. But obviously the big park in Miami. He's a strike thrower.
Good K prop 6.5 too. Like Vegas thinks he's gonna strike some guys out.
Yeah. No, I'm in on Gallen for sure. I do think one adjustment I've made. I've talked about it on other shows too, but I want strike throwers that can get that, because if you don't have to worry about the home run, batting averages are super low. Listen, if you're pounding the strike zone, you're going to get to go deeper into games. You're going to get a better chance to get the win, and you're just going to have more batters faced, right? And chances to get strikeouts. And the biggest undoing of a starting pitcher right now is walking guys, right? Because that's not affected by the baseball at all. So if you're doing that, can't go deep into games and you're just not going to have a good score. So Gallen, a strike thrower for sure. I like that about him. Great matchup against Miami. I think he is certainly in play. This slate, honestly, to me, is more about kind of who you're not going to use. Jordan Montgomery is a cross-off for me going up against the Blue Jays. There's just a few teams that have team totals over 4. I'm not going to use the pitchers against those guys on this particular slate, most likely. Drew Rasmussen, I think, is interesting, pitching for Tampa Bay. He's got good stuff. We know what the Rays do with their pitching. The previous concern with him had been how long will they let him go into games? I'm still a little bit worried about that. So first two outings for him, he threw 64 and then 68 pitches. He threw 84 against Seattle. But it's possible they let him go a little bit deeper into that game just because he was dominating so much, right? 9 strikeouts over 6 innings, maybe just kind of pitching too well to take out, where it's like, if he's just kind of doing his normal thing like he was in the first 2 starts, maybe he gets removed a little bit early. But that said, I mean, this Oakland A's lineup is absolutely atrocious. The ballpark is great. And Rasmussen, a really talented young pitcher. So he's in play at 8,300. And then the top end above 9K, Max Fried, Chris Bassett, Pablo Lopez. I've got Bassett pretty clearly third among this group. Not that he's a terrible play. I just don't think he is, in my opinion, in my eyes, quite the talent that Lopez and Fried are. And then I think Atlanta's the toughest matchup by a decent margin. You know, listen, I'd rather take Pablo Lopez at home against the Diamondbacks or even Fried against the Mets than I would Bassett against the Braves. I know the Braves haven't been super hot, but still a lot of really good hitters in that lineup. So up top, I ranked them Lopez 1, Fried 2, Bassett 3. Really like Gallen, and then Rasmussen in play as well in that 7,600 and up range.
Point per dollar, how would you rank those 5?
Gallen 1, Lopez 2, Rasmussen 3, Fried 4, Bassett 5.
Nice. Love it. Hoop, go to you. Same stuff. Talk about Gallen first because he looks to be one of the most popular on the slate. Then just go up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not prioritizing pitcher all that much today, to be honest with you. Like I'm building out my teams, and there's 6 guys that I feel comfortable with. Lopez for sure. If I have 10K for Lopez, I'm playing him. Bassett, I agree with what DC said. Like, why, if I'm coming up here, why pick on the best offense? Like Atlanta's the best offense of these top tier pitchers. Why pick on him? I'll have some of him. I'm probably going to make like 20 teams. I'll have some, but he's my least favorite. So, up top, it's Lopez, Fried, and then Bassett. And then you come down and, Gallen is probably the best, point per dollar play on the slate against Miami in that ballpark against that offense. He's been pitching well. 7.6K is a good deal. Rasmussen, I'm fine with at 8.3. Chris Paddock at 7.2.
We're gonna get there. Yeah, we're gonna get. All right.
I'll get down there. I'll lead us in that direction.
Sounds good.
Chris Paddock at 7.2. I'm fine with. And then the last guy that I'd probably consider on the slate would be Stripling at 5.8K. Like, I don't want to play Stripling, but if I have teams, like if you're going to stack an expensive team like Toronto, for example, I'd be fine playing Stripling if I need to. I mean, these pitchers have a huge advantage right now, so I think you can take on some more risk if you want to. So really, that's my entire player pool, and I'm fine playing any of them. Like, I am not going to change offensive pieces in order to get certain pitchers in just based on the way the scoring is going in baseball right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, DC, because I do not like anybody really under Gallen. I'm personally not going to probably go Paddock, any of these guys, maybe like a Tyler Wells if you just want a full punt, but like what offense are you going to completely stack? So what are your thoughts, Paddock and down, DC?
Yeah, I'm in on Paddock. I do 100% agree with Hoop. This is true in general for baseball. What we're seeing this first month of the season with the offense down is like, man, it's just so hard to come by fantasy points via offense. You gotta start there, right? I think a lot of people, myself included, for most of my MLB DFS career, have started at pitching and then kind of see what fits with the pitchers I like. But in general in baseball right now, I think you're better off starting with offense. And in particular today, I think you're better starting with offense and just seeing who fits, because I feel very comfortable using Gallen at 7,600. Paddock, I've talked about him a couple. Every time he pitches, I think I've been on a show. But the Twins obviously must have saw something in him to make the trade for him. They gave up a lot, and he's looked good so far, utilizing the curveball more. We talked Baltimore they move the fences back. He's a guy who can have home run issues at times, particularly to right-handed bats, actually. But good luck in Baltimore getting one out of there. Baltimore pitching staff has the lowest home ERA in the major leagues, which is just absurd. I mean, it's you could have got like just a massive, even with the fences back, in Baltimore. But it's a good place to pitch right now, no question about it. So I do like Paddock at 7,200. He can give you, six innings, hopefully, if things are going well. Who mentioned Stripling at 5,800? I think he's a fine play. There's strikeouts to be had in the Yankees lineup. We know a lot of people are going to go to the Yankees just because they do have one of the higher team totals. But Stripling is not a bad pitcher whatsoever. He's looked improved this year, frankly. Pitching at home, the dead ball, right? Like those Yankees guys are really reliant on home runs. Maybe they can get a couple of them. If they don't, there's strikeouts to be had there and easy flyouts, into the outfield. So Stripling is fine at 5,800. And yeah, I don't even mind Jake Odorizzi pitching at home, coming off a nice outing at 6,200. I would have him last among those guys, but if you need the savings, he's fine as well. Even like an Odorizzi Stripling pairing wouldn't shock me enough. They combine for 40 fantasy points, right? And maybe the top guys get you 25 instead of 20. Okay, I mean that's not the end of the world. So good options up and down the pricing spectrum. I'm with who. Start with offense, see who fits. I do like the expensive guys more than the cheap guys for sure. So I'm not going to necessarily like leave a bunch of salary, right? I'll spend up on the pitchers if I have the salary, but no problem using the cheap guys if there's expensive stacks you want to get to. If you want to get those power bats, right? Like I think I would rather play Byron Buxton and a cheap pitcher than one of the expensive pitchers and just a total punt. I just feel like that's got more upside right now for tournaments. So no problem going cheap at pitcher if you need to fit the guys in your lineup that you want.
Would you put Paddock or any of those guys below in your top 5 point per dollar that you mentioned before?
Paddock's the only one that's close. I'm fading Chris Bassett, so I will have more Paddock than Bassett. Frankly, more Stripling and Odorizzi too, and just playing 10 lineups tonight. But no, I do have Paddock a fair bit below Zach Gallen for sure.
Yeah, makes sense. Personally, I'm not going to go. Talk about Tyler Wells quick? Because we're talking about Camden. He is pitching in Camden. Big reverse splits guy. I think at 5.1K, like he's way down there. Personally, like I like him more than the Striplings, Odorizzi's, and that. I don't think I'd probably get there, but any thoughts on him?
I like him a little bit as a pitcher, but it is warmer in Baltimore today, up to 75 degrees. Twins do have a decent amount of left-handed bats in that lineup to face him. And then the big problem with Wells for me is it looks like he's on like a pretty strict, not necessarily pitch count, but they've said they're not going to extend him beyond 5 innings. So the 5 innings, 72 pitches that you got last start, I don't think you're going to get more than 5. They just kind of said they're content. This isn't really a team that's trying to win. I don't know what Baltimore exactly they're doing, but they said they're not going to push Wells out farther. So it'd be pretty frustrating, right? To have 5 shutout innings, he's rolling along, and they take him out at like 66 pitches. So not for me, but I mean, 5 shutout innings, which any pitcher can do right now, and he'll be just fine. So I don't think it's a crazy play. I just think with all the good pitchers going here, I'd be surprised if he ended up being like top 3 or 4 arm, which has him off my list, but I get the play.
Yeah, it makes sense. I probably won't go below Gallen. I want guys, especially like all these pitchers we're talking. Some of these guys can go 7 innings right now. If you're capped at 5 innings, I don't really want that. So appreciate that. Hoop. You mentioned Paddock a little bit. So I want to hear we got DC's top 4. Give me your top 4 point per dollar or how much you'll be playing.
Yeah, mostly the same. I mean, it's going to be Gallen, Pablo Lopez. I feel pretty good about. I guess after him, Fried, and then Rasmussen, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty jumbled, honestly. Like, I just don't see much separation. Like, I feel the best about Gallen and Lopez. Like I said, those 6 or 7 guys that I had mentioned, just going to kind of play them all, mix and match. Yeah,
you're going to build your offenses and see what fits for pitchers. That definitely makes sense.
People that watch my shows, there's plenty of slates where I'm really excited about a low-owned pitcher that nobody's going to play, or a cheap guy that, I think I have some information that maybe people aren't aware of. Just nothing there really for me on this slate in terms of pitching. It doesn't mean I don't like the pitchers, but separating these guys, Hoop, is, man, it's just, you just want to tell the truth, right? What you really think. And what I really think is that you can mix and match all these guys and fit in the offenses that you want.
Yep, that makes sense. Yep, that's pitching. 12 pitchers on the slate. I think you can probably play 8 of them if you really want to. I mean, Yeah, especially with the highest total right now, like I said, 4.9. The next high is 4.5, 4.3. I mean, there are a lot of low totals. So Vegas expecting some pitchers to have some pretty good performances. I expect the same. I think I personally, I'm not going to go below Gallon. I know Stripling, you guys both mentioned a little bit. Paddock, I think Paddock is interesting. He might get a little ownership, but I also think the ownership is going to stay in the top two. So in the top tier, Gallon and above. So that's pitching. Before we get into the stacks, give you guys a little time to think about your top three. Got to talk about the members never win segment. We have two of them. Our boy Cam, $60,000 in PGA, and then T Tyon, $125,000. Congrats to you two. PGA, I know Mangone, you Hoop, Big T, we're talking about it earlier on the Mangone and Friends show. After Saturday, man, I was expecting a million screenshots.
Yeah.
Wasn't the best ending for Run Pier, but still a very good week in the golf street. So congrats to you guys. If you want to be on this segment, there's a members never win segment in the Discord. Otherwise, you can tweet it out at us, put it on Instagram and tag Run Pier Sports, and you can have a chance to be on this segment. Speaking of Twitter, we have 14.8K followers right now. We're looking for 15,000, and then we're going to give away some RPS swag to a subscriber. So or go on Twitter if you got one. If you're not following Run Pier Sports, which I don't know why you wouldn't be, hey, give us a little follow button, and then go check out Draft Cheats Twitter. He has one of the best Twitter games out there.
Give me the reins on the RPS Twitter. I'll get us to 15K in a day.
That's boss man you're talking to. I got no control over that one. We might lose it right away.
Wait, Elon will save us. We're good.
No. He's excellent. More of a joke about me.
but yeah, hit that follow button at Run Pier Sports. We appreciate it. And I also want to give one more shout out before we get into the stacks. It's NHL playoffs time, and our guys at Run Pier don't get enough credit in the NHL streets because it's going on the same time as NBA. The prize pools aren't as big, but EJ and Matty Ice do a great job. I saw they're ranked. I'm not sure who. I think Daily Overlay it says right now. I'm not sure who they are, but they do some NHL rankings. And Run Pier Sports was number 4. So congrats to Matty Ice, to EJ.
That's bullshit. What do you mean congrats? I mean, how are those guys not number 1? Those dudes smash. Yeah, we need to protest that ranking, and they should be 1 for sure.
I don't know, man. I just reading what I'm seeing.
But it's cool to get recognized. It's good to be recognized for sure, but they should be 1. They're number 1 in my eyes. How about that?
Yes, I agree. And I was dying at Matty Ice's. He had a good gift today with Big T. Big T tweeted and he responded. It was him checking Big T in the boards. Oh, it was so when he was celebrating after. It was a really good one. I was definitely laughing. So shout out to the guys. And get in the NHL streets. NHL playoffs are a good time. I like a little playoff hockey when I got some downtime. So check that out. Shout out to you, EJ, Matty Ice. Top 3 stacks though, guys. I'm very excited to hear what you guys got to say. Hoop, I'll start with you since you've been on fire. You say you're going to build the stacks first. Give the people some winners.
Yeah, DC is going to like this because I think my favorite might be his Twins tonight. Really like the lineup. I mean, Carlos Correa was dog shit for a while. Starting to turn it around a little bit. And if he gets going, that's good for that entire lineup. Buxton, Kepler batting 5th. They called up this Jose Miranda. And
he's apparently, a good hitter. Really good hitter.
Yeah. It's a really good number with minor league player of the year or something. So, 2K on both sites. So very excited about the Twins tonight. I'm going to go back to my Yankees. The Yankees have been treating us pretty well. Roll out a nice lineup tonight with all their guys up top. I mean, Judge is on a tear right now. Rizzo, obviously phenomenal start to the season. And they have guys that can overcome whatever it is right now, the baseballs or whatnot. I mean, they have the guys with the real power, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton. So love the Yankees. And then dark horse team I kind of like tonight. Shouldn't be all that owned. Is going to be the Rays, Tampa Bay. 6.5 total there. It's tough, but again, a team I think Lowe's not in that lineup. Did he get hurt? Oh wait, no, he's bad. They moved their lineup around. He's batting 4th. Okay. So no, I like the Rays. I don't think many people will be on them. Low team total, which typically means low ownership. So they're kind of a sneaky team for me.
I like it. DC, top 3 stacks. What you got?
I'm going, Astros number 1 against Marco Gonzalez, who a little bit banged up. He's also a guy, this is true of a lot of Mariners pitchers. It's just one of the best places to pitch out west. And a lot of these guys, when they go on the road, they're just not nearly as good. The Astros do get Jose Altuve back. I think this is his first game back.
Yeah, it is.
So and then guys like Altuve and Bregman, kind of counter to Gonzalez, I really like them when they're at home, right? They've got that short porch in left field. Those guys struggle to hit home runs sometimes away from home just because they're smaller dudes. But if you pull it in Houston with any loft, it's going to go out of there. So Altuve, Bregman makes a lot of sense. Jordan Alvarez been one of the few hitters just absolutely crushing baseballs. He can hit lefties just fine. I'm not scared of that matchup against Marco Gonzalez, who doesn't have, great stuff anyway. Jeremy Pena, McCormick down there. I think the Astros have a chance to do some actual damage tonight. They'd be my pick for highest scoring team on the slate. And with Hoop on the Twins, looks like a pretty good lineup, right? Like I like 1 through 7 for sure. And then catcher is just a total crapshoot tonight. Anyway, so you could include the catcher easily in a twin stack if you wanted to. Tyler Wells. Again, Baltimore, tough place for home runs right now, but Buxton can do it anywhere. Correa's got real power. And then the other guys are mostly lefties, right? Or they're super cheap like Miranda. So I do like almost all the Twins at value. So I like them quite a bit. And then I will say the contrarian one is the Braves. I'm seeing Chris Bassett contend for highest owned pitcher tonight, which we'll see if that proves true, but at least he's going to have reasonable ownership. And most of these Braves are projecting very, very low ownership. They're pretty expensive. We haven't really seen like Ronald Acuna get going yet, but that's going to happen, right? Sooner rather than later. He's healthy. Seems like we know what Olsen can do. Riley's got huge power. Ozuna's got power. Albies. Travis d'Arnaud, I think, is the best catcher on the board. Duvall, Travis Demeritte is 2K at the bottom of that lineup. So another team where I do kind of like their entire lineup. I don't think Chris Bassett is a guy that you necessarily have to avoid. He's not, a dominant type pitcher. Throws a ton of strikes, yes, and you don't love the ballpark in New York for hitting, but the Braves lineup just so good top to bottom that I think just a matter of time before they really break out. So they'd be my dark horse. They'll be super low owned, like I mentioned. You also get the leverage going up against a fairly popular pitcher, Chris Bassett.
Yep, I like that for sure. I'll say one stack that I'm looking at, and it's the Mariners. I don't think Odorizzi is very good. I like right now with weather, of course, across the country being pretty bad. This is in the dome, which I like. They're on the road, so they're guaranteed the 9th inning at bat, which I like. And they're really expensive, so the ownership looks to be down. So I know I like Julio Rodriguez. You've been talking about him forever, DC. Finally hit one out yesterday, has stolen base upside. You got Toro in the 7-hole, Kelnick in the 8-hole too. So you can stack this lineup, I think, pretty much top to bottom. So that's the one stack I'll say. The Mariners, they're tough to fit. That's what I'll say. Let's see what we like. I like cool. Anytime Hoop likes it, I'll definitely maybe double down.
Prices. No one's going to. Ty France is 6K. Like people aren't clicking those buttons today.
And the thing is, prices don't matter if they're the only team that puts up 8 runs right now, and everyone's putting up 3. So that's my pick. Let's look at the likes. We got 410 watching, 145 likes. I'm saying 250 for the plays of the day. You guys should be able to get it. We're going to go position by position. So guys got about 15, 20 minutes maybe to get that like button. We appreciate it. I know you guys are going to get done for us, and we'll get the plays of the day. But let's go position by position, always starting at the catcher position. Of course, you can always throw whoever you're stacking in there. If you're trying to one-off someone, DC, what are you looking at for one-offs at the catcher position? Man, it's a little tough.
Just the fantasy points per game on these guys, obviously not like a stat that's used for analysis, but these catchers are all like 3.2, 2.4. They're all hitting like 130 with 0 or 1 home runs. It's kind of sad.
That's why I just throw him in my stat, because you ain't getting Zach Collins isn't in the lineup for Hoop either, so I don't know where Hoop's gonna go.
I'm drawing dead at catcher. I'm just like drawing names out of a hat and just playing those guys. No Zach Collins, Blue Jay slate. I'm screwed.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess I'll say the top guys are the guys that have done something this year. That's Travis d'Arnaud and Sean Murphy, the 2 most expensive dudes, but I don't know. I think those 2 probably have more home runs than all the other catchers on the slate combined. You don't love the matchups necessarily for them against Bassett and Rasmussen, but producing something at this point of the year when almost all the hitters are struggling means more to me than it would in a typical year, where you kind of like, it's going to come around. Like anyone that's producing, especially at the catcher position, does get a decent bump for me. So I've got d'Arnaud and Sean Murphy up top. Nobody's paying the 5,400 for Travis d'Arnaud
for sure.
But he hits a home run and you got a massive leg up on the field. So I don't mind paying it. We like the cheap pitchers fine. Pricing at hitter, not really that big of a deal. You can kind of fit the guys that you want, especially because we're comfortable with those low end pitching. So kind of like paying up a little bit to be contrarian at catcher today. I'll do it on some of my lineups. I'll throw in Ryan Jeffers. He's shown a little bit of power for the Twins, couple home runs on the year. And we do like the Twin stack quite a bit. Beyond that, yeah, play the guy that's in your stack and hope for the best.
I like it. Before we get to who, the DraftKings observer said, get to the winners already. And then he goes, 250 is way too high, title. Damn. You're telling me 150 people out there, I'm saying over 150 people don't even need to hit the like button and they're watching this show. That is not too high. It's very easy. Hit that like button if you're watching this show. So 250 is not too high. And I'm now going to raise it to 260 for you DraftKings observers.
There we go.
So
that's the title. That's the title.
Yeah, you better go make 10 accounts quick to help all the people out for that comment. That's disappointing. Before we get to you, Hoop, Big T, he's in chat. He said, just play James McCann and move over to first base. James McCann against the lefty has power. I am not surprised there. So that's Big T's play for everyone. What you got to catcher, Hoop?
Yeah, I don't care. I'll play. I don't like catcher. This is like so bad of a position. It's like, it's terrible. No, the guys at the top are going to be, everyone's going to punt. Okay. Everyone's just going to get out of the position as cheap as they can. So the actual real hitters at this position will be low on. Like no one is paying 5-4 for Travis d'Arnaud tonight. And he's by far the best hitting catcher on the slate. Very interesting for sure. And then Sean Murphy. So I think, those guys are interesting, certainly. But after those guys, just give me anybody. I don't care. Like in stacks, if you want to go super cheap, I don't mind Maldonado batting 9th at 2.2K. I don't mind the Toronto guy Henneman at 2.1K. James McCann, I'm good with it at 2.8K. I'm not going to put any thought into catcher whatsoever tonight.
Yep, I like it. So we're going to go to first base. Definitely a better position than that. We talked about Ty France up top. It's an overspend. You look at the price, and I like that play for sure. Then I got to mention Jordan Luplow down there, 2.7K. He did me well yesterday, a little double dong for me. You can play him at first and outfield. So had to mention him. What else you like at first, Hoop?
Yeah, I like Anthony Rizzo. I like the Yankees tonight, like I mentioned, 5.5K. I like Vlad. I like Ty France. I actually do like coming up at the top here because we're going to have the ability to do so. Ty France at 6K. I don't know. I mean, it's a 6-game slate, so the ownership is probably a little bit higher than we think, but he's going to be
2%.
It's super low. Oh, what did you say, 2?
I mean, a 2.
Yeah, I know it's going to be low.
Something.
I mean, no one's playing Ty France over Vlad or Anthony Rizzo. Like, no one's going to do that. So I like the Ty France play. I mean, but again, it would be part of a stack. Like, I'm not really looking to one-off anyone. But Vlad, Rizzo, I will most likely be paying up at this position. Gurriel is 3.8K. He's like the one guy though, when I stack the Astros, I don't know if it's right or wrong, I just leave him off because I feel like he just hits like a ton of singles. Actually, yeah, look at it, he has no home runs on the season.
He's a guy that's definitely affected by this ball.
Like, yeah. Like, and it's worked out because I just never play him.
He was hardly hitting home runs before the ball.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So maybe not him. I honestly just like going up top at this position. I'm going to focus on those guys up there, the guys that have the power to hit it out despite whatever balls they're using. Rizzo, Vlad and Ty France. So you can play Araz at first base. Prefer to play him at second though, 3.4K. So we'll talk about him over there. But yeah, for the most part, I'm going to be going to the top of this position.
Yep, makes sense for sure. DC, we're talking top position. He hasn't been mentioned yet. Matt Olson, you like the Braves a little, so I think he'd be one of your favorite spend ups. What else you like at first?
Yeah, love Matt Olson. Waiting for him to get hot, but it's coming for him. His metrics look great to me, underlying metrics. Hoop nailed it. This is a spend position. I have no problem with any of the 5 guys up top: Ty France, Vlad, Rizzo, Matt Olson, Pete Alonso. Big boy power, great hitters, all of them. And it drops off a lot after that, right? Jesus Aguilar is the next highest expensive guy in Miami against Gallen. Yandy Diaz never hits any home runs. We talked about Gurriel. I don't really want to play a guy in Miami against Pablo Lopez. So I'm spending here. The one guy, you guys already mentioned him, that I would be willing to play that isn't expensive would be Luis Ariz for the Twins. But you can play him second base, and at a loaded position, no reason to play him at first, in my opinion. So give me those top 5 guys. I don't think I'll play anybody below the top 5 most expensive first baseman.
Yep, definitely makes sense. And Tyler Martins, I can tell you've been here for a little bit because he goes Gary L. Homer locked in now, or Gary L. Homer guaranteed, now locking him in. Hey, smart man, Tyler. You know how this show goes, so I would not doubt that one bit when I see Gary L. pop up with a home run today. Good call there. Second base, DC, Jose Altuve is back in the lineup. Makes the Astros definitely a little better. Outside of him, what you like?
Yeah, I really like Altuve there. Was off to a slow start before he went on the IL, but he'll get it going soon. Love the matchup for him in Houston against Marco Gonzalez. If you're not on Zach Gallen, feel free to use.
I was waiting for you to say him. Yep.
Yeah. He's got big power. He doesn't look like he would have big power, but he does. Has proven it so far this year. Crushes right-handed pitching, 4 home runs already on the year. So he's a great option. Of course, Ozzy Albies, I'm going to be heavier on the Braves than most people. Brandon Lau, 4,900. He's got power. Dalton Jeffries, maybe the worst starting pitcher on the slate. So you don't like the ballpark in Oakland, but Lau does have the power to go deep there regardless. And then the cheap guy I like the best, swing from the left side, Luis Ariz. They moved the left field fences back, but still going to be a lot of home runs to right field in Baltimore. They've got that tall wall with but it is short out there, which Luis Ariz, a good park for him to potentially hit a home run in swinging from the left side. So I like him quite a bit down at 3,400.
Would you go Ariz or Polanco? I mean, you can play, and this is also in baseball. Did you think of that? Because you could play Ariz at first, Polanco at second. We talked about the Ohtani and Walsh and stuff, which automatically pretty much makes you different. But if you had to pick one at second, do you have a preference?
I would go Ariz right now, but I like both guys quite a bit.
Gotcha. Yeah, like it. Who? Second base?
The chat's found our play of the day, Gary L. They said whenever we talk about a guy without power, it's a guaranteed bomb. Now, fuck, man, I got to bring him back into my stacks. They're on it. He's gonna hit a homer tonight, isn't he?
Yeah. I want to keep talking more shit about how he's not gonna hit a home run, but I know the more shit I talk, the likelier it is to happen. So I'm just gonna hope for the best.
I was not going to play him tonight. Now I got to play him in my Astro stacks. Damn it. You're right. It's like it's undefeated too. Like whenever we go in deep about a guy, it's like it's for sure going to happen. Second base, I'm in lockstep with DC. The only other name I'll add is Adam Frazier. If you're going to play the Mariners, 4.6K leading off. And then who was the other guy? Yeah, and then like DJ LeMahieu, if you're gonna play the Yankees, he is expensive, 5.2K, but he's actually been pretty good, I'd say, overall this season. So I'm fine playing LeMahieu at 5.2 in my Yankee stacks. But my favorite plays are definitely gonna be those Twins guys. 3.8K for Polanco and 3.4 for Luis Ariz. I mean, it gets you out of the position pretty cheap with some upside mixed in as well.
Yep, absolutely. Before we get to the third base position, 214 likes right now. So 45 more likes for 260. We got 407 watching. You guys are going to get it done for us. Was 250. Had to be raised a little bit, unfortunately, but I know you guys are going to get it home for us. Third base, we're talking. Jose Miranda. You guys brought him up a little bit. Some people talked about him in chat too. Min price 2K. DC, you're saying he's a good hitter too. You guys like Minnesota. All makes sense there. There's Bregman if you want to go in Houston stacks. What you like, DC, at third?
Yeah, Miranda will be my highest owned guy. Just sitting at 2K for a team I like. As you mentioned, title minor league player of the year for the Twins last year. Hit 344 with 25 home runs as a 22-year-old. A little bit of a slow start this year, but he's been playing in that Midwest league where it's just cold everywhere. So I don't put that much stock into it. I think he's going to be a great hitter going forward. 2K in the middle of that Twins lineup. And like I said, I'm spending at first base no matter what. Would way rather go down, at third base with a guy like Miranda. But of course, there are guys up top. I do like Bregman quite a bit against Marco Gonzalez tonight. No problem using a guy like Austin Riley, another guy who's hitting the ball real hard to start the year. There's not many of them. He's certainly one of them. Matt Chapman, 3,900. We haven't mentioned too many Blue Jays yet, hitting fifth against Jordan Montgomery, who is a good pitcher, but Chapman, another guy who does have legitimate power. Yeah, that's mostly my list there. Yeah, Bregman, Riley, Chapman, and then if you're going down to the bottom, really do like Jose Miranda down there.
So if I'm stacking Seattle, obviously there's a pretty decent price difference, but do you have a really strong lean on Eugenio Suarez or Abraham Toro? It is $1,100 difference, so it definitely could matter. But if you had to pick one,
I think either guy is a fine play. Suarez has actually looked pretty good though to start this year. I think he's also a guy who has, big pull power. You got the short porch in left field. So yeah, I think I would lean Suarez.
Gotcha. And then who Irish Wood in chat said Gallen was traded for Chisholm. I guess those two were in the same deal.
Okay,
so
yep.
If Mangone was here, he probably would be locking in a little revenge narrative. I don't even know if that's the right word, but there is a narrative involved in the same trade. So Irish Wood, thanks for pointing that out. Hoop, third base, what you like?
Yeah, third base. I mean, there's guys at each price point that I like quite a bit. Up top, I really like Bregman at 5.1K in that middle type tier. I think Matt Chapman is a really good play at 3.9. I do really like him. And then you go all the way down to Jose Miranda at 2K, who's a phenomenal play. And a lot of times, you see when these guys get their first crack at the majors, guys, big prospects, which it sounds like he is, and people are slow to react to it, and the ownership's not crazy, but he should be very highly owned on the slate. 2K, I'll have a ton of him. LeMahieu, you can obviously play, and then those Mariners guys should be low owned. I mean, not many people are going to pay the 5.4 for Suarez, and definitely not going to pay the 4.3 for Toro. I mean, you just look at those prices, and they stand out as misprices. Anyone that's followed baseball at all knows, okay, man, these guys are way more expensive than they've been all season long, which is going to lead to lower ownership. So I definitely like those guys as well, but it's a very clear position. I mean, three guys I really like at each price point.
Yep, definitely agree. And Derek in chat said revenge doesn't work in baseball. Yeah, we talked about it last week. All three of us agree revenge doesn't work in baseball. But when someone brings it up, it's around pure sports. Mangone's the head of the narrative street in the industry. So you got to bring up stuff like that when you see it. But yes, we talked about it. In basketball, when you get the ball, you can chuck it as much as you want as a revenge. Baseball, you're still going to get your 4 at bats. And yeah, I mean, you try to get a hit every time, regardless of your playing. So yes, Derek, revenge does not matter. But I do bring it up when I see something like that. Just to stay on par with the Run Pure Sports and Mangone narrative street. Got to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for us. We got shortstop, we got outfield. 260 is the number. Then you guys are gonna get the plays of the day, or we're gonna have to log off. So hit that like, hit that subscribe. Shortstop, man, I don't think it's a great position. I like Bo Bichette, of course, against Jordan Montgomery. I think's fine. JP Crawford, way overpriced, but if you're gonna play Seattle, I think he's interesting. There's Correa at 4.6. Hoop, I'll go back to you. What you like as short?
Yeah, shortstop is probably the toughest spot. I mean, there's guys up top that I feel fine playing, like Bichette and Correa. Like I said, he's been playing much better. Correa is probably my favorite. I'm on the Twins. He offers a little bit of a discount from Bichette, a $600 discount. So, Correa is probably my favorite. After that, it drops off, in a hurry. JP Crawford is, part of that Mariners team that should be low owned because of the price tags. He's 5.6K. Like no one's paying the 5.6 for JP Crawford. Franco, I think at 5.5 is fine, but there's like nothing that stands out that I'm seeing that stands out as a cheap way to get out of this position. I mean, there's just not much here. So most likely a lot of my teams will be with Correa, to be honest. It's a good price, 4.6K, and he's been starting to hit after a slow start to the season.
Makes sense. DC shortstop.
Yeah, I'm in on Correa for sure. I think he is my preferred play here. I mean, JP Crawford, you say, overpriced, but he's certainly earned the price tag. He's been phenomenal through the first month of the season. Fine matchup. I kind of relate him to, or compare him to Travis d'Arnaud, right? Looks overpriced, but also one of the few guys actually hitting right now. Nobody's going to play him. I don't mind it, frankly, on this slate. Wander Franco, we know about him, just a top hitter in baseball, going to be for a long, long time. Gets one of the worst pitchers on the slate. Don't like the ballpark, but Franco, a guy who never strikes out, he's going to put it in play. He's got a chance to get there with 3 or 4 hits in a night, without the home run, which is an added benefit at the moment. Bichette is fine, and then I do like Jeremy Pena quite a bit. for the Astros, hitting 8th, but does have legit power. And I really like the matchup against Gonzalez for him. So yeah, I think mostly a spend position here as well.
Yep, I'm thinking kind of shortstops and spend as well.
Yeah.
Talking outfield, there's a lot of outfielders. Again, 430 watching, 230 likes. It's my last time I'm going to say it. We're going to DC in the outfield. We're going to go Hoop in the outfield, 30 more likes. And then, yeah, unfortunately, if you guys can't get it done, it's going to hurt me to do it. But yeah, it's going to have to be done. DC, give me some upper tier, give me some mid tier, give me some lower tier outfielders.
Yeah, the upper tier of outfield kind of always looks good and is a position that, you know, is going to provide you with salary relief too if you want it. But you are sacrificing a lot of upside if you don't spend up, I think, at outfield today if you can. For me, Byron Buxton leads the slate. That's going to be something, you know, I've said that a lot, and I'm not gonna slow down on the Buxton love. Not going to let the fences at Camden Yards scare me off. He's just incredible right now. 5,700. I'm still willing to play Acuna, even though the tough matchup against Bassett, another guy who, when he gets a hold of one, it's not going to matter where he's playing or who he's facing. So I do like those guys quite a bit. Judge has been on fire. Springer has been on fire. And again, we're starved for offense. So spending up on those guys, Jordan Alvarez, a bunch of the guys up top that I like. In the mid-range, Max Kepler, off to a very good start for the Twins. He's sitting at 3,500. The Oriole I like by far the best, Cedric Mullins, 4K. Again, not affected really at all by the fences back in Baltimore. And then, my guy Julio Rodriguez turning it on, hit an absolute bomb. Was that yesterday? I think it was. 450-foot home run. He's got 9 steals on the year. He's running almost every chance he gets. And I think, I've been kind of waiting for him to get hot. He just strikes me as someone who might go on some absolute tears, right? We see it from kind of these super athletes with power and speed. And maybe that first home run of his big league career triggers a run for him, right? Where he's just crushing for a whole week. Certainly not scared of Jake Odorizzi. And Julio will run on anybody. So yeah, I love him at 3,700.
Yeah, absolutely like that as well. Hoop, talk some high price outfield, talk some mid-range outfield, talk some lower tier.
Yeah, so if you're spending, like I like Buxton, and then I like the Yankees guys. Those are my favorites. Buxton, Judge, Stanton, I think are all great options. You can throw Springer into that mix as well, but I think I prefer the Yankees and Buxton over Springer a little bit. Aaron Hicks has a fair price tag. Gary L for the Blue Jays, 3.9K. I think that is a strong price tag. Max Kepler I like a lot at 3.4. Trevor Larnach at 2.5K I think is a fine salary savings option. Gary L I think will be pretty low. I mean, people just avoid those lefty-lefty matchups. I think last time he was lefty-lefty, he hit a homer. So he's a great guy to consider. I think Kyle Tucker in tournaments is a great option as well. And then, Julio Rodriguez is like the only Mariners guy that's not like priced way up. He still has a fair price tag at 3.7K, and the dude has a ton of upside. So I'm in on him. So that's kind of where I'm at in the outfield. Really, a lot of really good options, obviously, because of how many guys are at the position.
Yep, good. A lot of options as always. That was all 6 games. Went through the pitching, went through the stacks, went through position by position. The likes, you guys did not get there. Unfortunately, DC is over there grinning, waiting to hear if they did not get it. Unfortunately, hurtful. DC, very hurtful, very hurtful. So they're going to go in the Discord. I'm about to put mine up right now. A little hurtful, but we'll be back tomorrow. You guys are going to hit the like button. I believe Mangone's on it in the host. So you guys will get it done for Mangone. Head over on Peer Sports. If you want to be a member, RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off. Get in the Discord if you are a member. And if you are a member and not in the Discord, you are definitely doing something wrong. Hop in the Discord. Always a good time. Big T, JSU, K Fallick are going to be going live in 15 minutes on the premium side, talking some NBA playoffs. If you have MLB questions as well, you can throw them in there. We have a live show chat in the Discord for that to ask all the questions. But 6-game slate, looking to see a Run Peer Sports members up top, an NBA and MLB. That's going to do it for us, though. We're going to be dropping our plays in the Discord. Hit that like on the way out for us. We appreciate it as always. For DC, Hoop, Helmet Behind the Sticks, I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.